Our next speaker is someone who is a dear friend. He is just an amazing, amazing leader, author, coach, mentor, kick in the butt type of guy. If anyone's going to encourage you to play a bigger game, it is this gentleman. But I am going to tell you, just in case any of you have not heard me talk about Richard before, I'm just going to share a little bit about his official bio. So Richard Bliss Brooke has been a full-time network marketing sales leader and company owner since 1977. Who wasn't born in the room in 1977? A few, Richard. Sorry, you're really old. He built his own team of 30,000 active partners in 4 years at the age of 22. Richard owned his own network marketing companies from 1986 to 2017 when he sold them to a $1 billion MLM company. In those 30 years, Richard served on the board of directors of the Direct Selling Association and on its ethics committee, pioneering ethical changes in our profession. He was featured on the cover of Success magazine in 1992, the first and only time Success magazine featured a network marketer on its cover. The issue outsold every issue in the 100-year history of the magazine. Richard is the author of Mac 2, The Art of Vision and Self-Motivation, as well as The 4-Year Career, which you can purchase outside. He and his wife, Kimmy, live in Lanai in Hawaii. Can we please give a huge, big Juice Plus welcome to Richard Bliss Brooke?
Thank you, Celine. It sounds like you're losing your voice.
I am losing the voice. I am. I have lost the voice. I found it again, and it's going again, Richard. It's been a big week. But I'm just going to lead in with a question. I'm going to let you share your magic as you do. So really, Richard, you have been in this profession for a long time now, and you have seen it all. Okay, so tell us, what's the secret sauce?
Well, I was eavesdropping on some of your tipsters earlier, and gosh, it sounds like everybody's got it. Everybody's figured it out. So I might be a little redundant, but what's the secret sauce? Well, it's a few things, but fortunately, they're simple things, and they're things that you and I do every day, and things that we've done our whole lives to do things that we want to do, to sort of step outside our comfort zone and learn something new and do something new and accomplish something. And I know everybody in the room has done that. Everybody in the room has accomplished something extraordinary in their life. They've learned a new career. They've been successful at a career. My gosh, if you've parented children, you've done something absolutely extraordinary. So we've figured it out in our lives at times. And what I've found is if you just apply those basic principles to the opportunity here in Juice Plus and network marketing, you'll figure this out. So maybe I'll cover some simple ones that might be redundant.
Not at all.
One of them first, I want to tell you my story in the context of one of the great gifts that this opportunity provides us. You know, I grew up on a really remote cattle ranch, and even though I have an older sister, she always went to private school, and I always went to public school, and so I was really the only one home, so it kind of felt like an only child. And you know, we lived a long way from town, so I kind of grew up with the animals and nature. And then when I was about, 12 years old, we moved to town where all the people were. And I noticed right away that I didn't fit in very good. I didn't have very good social skills because I wasn't used to talking to other kids much. I was used to talking to animals and the clouds and stuff like that. And I just felt awkward and uncomfortable. And you know, for a lot of other reasons, you know, in school, I didn't do well in school, not because I was stupid. I just didn't like school. I just didn't make sense to me, the whole memorize the answers to the questions and that's how you get good grades and that's supposed to mean something. And I've never been able to memorize good. So, I guess is the proper word. Kimmy would tell me. Never been able to memorize well. So I didn't do well in school at all. And where I grew up, which is basically an agricultural community, if you don't do well in school and you don't go on to college, which I did not, you end up back on the farm, back on the dairy, back on the ranch, or you end up in some food processing plant because it was an agricultural area. And I end up at this chicken plant, cutting up chickens for a living. And that was about 1974. I was, I guess, 18 years old. And I actually loved it. I fell in love with the chicken plant. I thought I was going to be there my whole life. I actually kind of had a vision for, a 40-year career in the chicken plant. And I was excited about it. And I was actually good at it. And so here's a nugget for you. While I was there and engaged in loving the chicken plant, this friend of mine kept calling me and saying, hey, I got an opportunity for you to make a lot of money. Now, I made 1977-ish or so, I made about $1,100 a month working 60 or 70 hours a week. And I would have done just about anything for a $100 a month raise. But there's a message here. When he said make a lot of money, and he said a couple other things too, like come to a meeting and meet a lot of other people. How do you think that landed with me? The introvert, the kid that was raised all alone out on the farm, go to a meeting, meet a bunch of people I didn't know. The idea did not appeal to me. And the whole idea of making a lot of money, that was so outside my comfort zone. If he would have said, hey, let me show you how to make an extra $100 a month at Foster Farms, the chicken plant, I'd have been all over it. But the idea of going to a meeting, meeting a bunch of strangers, to see an opportunity to make a lot of money, that scared me. And so, of course, I told him no. Now, what did no mean? Did no mean I didn't want to make more money? No, my gosh, I jumped through all kinds of hoops to make an extra $100 a month at the chicken plant, but I told him no. Did no mean that, I didn't want more free time, or did no mean I didn't want more friends or adventure or travel? No, didn't really mean any of that. It just meant that the way he cast the vision, it was uncomfortable for me. So I said no. And I said no 4 or 5 times. And I said no, like really emphatically. Like, no, don't call me anymore about this thing. And then second lesson, something happened. Foster Farms changed their policy where they said you can't advance any further in this chicken plant unless you have a 4-year college degree. Now, since then, they've abandoned that ridiculous policy. But at the time, it killed my whole dream of working at the chicken plant. And it happened like that, right? Just like that. And it's not like I called my buddy, Steve, and said, oh, Foster Farms just changed their policy. Now I'll go to your meeting. No, it wasn't like that. And he actually didn't call me again. He probably would have, but he didn't. But in the meantime, I just happened to go by his house because we were friends. And I wasn't thinking about my careers over at Foster Farms, and I wasn't thinking about his new thing where he was making all this money. I just happened to go by his house. And of course, he was, doing his thing as a network marketer. And now something had changed. And something had changed in my life. And so I was open to looking again. And here's the lesson. People may tell you no. What does that mean? Does that mean, no, I don't want to make more money? No, I don't want more freedom? No, I don't want more fun? No, I don't want to be healthier? No, I don't want to live longer? Of course not. Doesn't mean that. We're all famous for saying it means not now. And in my case, it meant actually not now. But it actually meant not now, but when Foster Farms changes its policy so I can't advance any further, then I'll be open to your opportunity. That's what my no meant. And if you're going to be successful in this business, you got to be able to understand what no means, and don't take it literally the way most people make up it means. Most people make up that if somebody says no, what they're saying is, no, I don't ever want to do your opportunity. I don't ever want to use your products. I don't want to get healthier. I don't want to get wealthier. And nothing's ever going to change. And I think you're kind of foolish for doing it. And I don't like you. And don't talk to me anymore. And you're a loser. And I don't know, you should be ashamed. we make up all this crazy stuff about what no means. And what I've learned is no just means, you know what, based on what's going on right now, in this second that you decided, I didn't decide, you decided to tell me about this opportunity, I'm just not comfortable looking at it. It's just not the right time for me. I'm thinking about other things. But you know what? Life's going to change. And so life changed for me. And so another part of my story that's like a great nugget about network marketing is, and this one, I mean, this is just one of my favorite things about what we do. And if you can understand this and believe this and live by it, both for yourself and the people that you coach in the business, well, you can be a lot more optimistic and a lot more empowered about being successful. And that is that, let's say on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being you have incredible confidence, you have high self-esteem, you're really ambitious, you have big vision, you know tons of people, you're highly influential. When you call people, they show up and listen. That would be a 10. And a 2 would be you have low self-esteem, you're an introvert, you don't have very much confidence, you don't know very many people, and when you do call the people that you know, they don't call you back because you don't have a lot of credibility. That would be like a 2. But here's one of the magic things about our profession, and actually, in many ways, why I'm here. Because a 2 can enroll a 10. A 2 can enroll a 10. And when a 2 enrolls a 10, what does the 2 become? Well, at least a 10. Why? Well, because you got a 10 on your team, right? Maybe, you might even be a 12, right? Because maybe you got a couple of them. And it's just a magical thing about, how to make it in our business. But, in order to do that, in order for a 2 to enroll a 10, you got to have the attitude of enrollment. What I call the attitude of enrollment. And, it's a perspective, it's a belief, it's a feeling, it's a philosophy, it's several attitudes. One of them is you got to understand and accept our network marketing model, which is a really fascinating, interesting model born in 1946 by a company called California Vitamins that was a direct selling company and had a multivitamin product. And they were trying to figure out, how can we expand faster? How can we build more sales? How can we get more customers? And they just blew up the paradigm of direct selling. And that paradigm in the 1940s was basically that, if you wanted to be a salesperson for a product, well, you kind of had to jump through these hoops to become a salesperson. And then you could sell the product and make money, but that's all you could do is sell the product. That's the only way you could make money, just linear commissions making money. And if you wanted to be a sales manager, well, you had to be a really good salesperson, and then the company might appoint you to be a sales manager, and you could build a small team based on a territory, but you couldn't go outside that territory, and none of your salespeople could build a sales team. So again, linear income, that was direct selling in the 1940s. California Vitamins blew it all up. Just one day in a conference room, I guess. I'd give anything to have a recording of the brainstorming that went into, hey, what if we get rid of territories? And what if we let every customer get other customers? In fact, what if we let every customer build a sales team of their own? And they probably had to scratch their head at the math of this and maybe put it up on the chalkboard in 1946. Okay, let's see. If this person can build a sales team and all of their salespeople can build a sales team and all those salespeople can build a sales team and all those people can build a sales team, I mean, they had to melt and freak out, and they had to be really uncomfortable for them. I'm sure somebody in that room said, well, if that kept going and kept going and kept going, pretty soon all 7 billion people in the world will be signed up in our company. And probably the president of the company said, well, awesome, let's do it, right? So to have the attitude of enrollment, folks, you got to really understand and embrace the network marketing model, which is everybody gets to build a sales team from day one. Everybody. Now, they don't have to. And of course, we know most of them won't. Probably at least 95% of them won't. They're just going to be customers. But they all could. And when you understand that, and you understand the math behind that, then you'll be able to finish these equations. Let's see how many of you can finish these equations. 3, 9, 27. Can anybody shout out the next number? If anybody shouted out 81, you get a gold star. And what's after 81? 243. If anybody shouted that out, you get a gold star. And what's after that? 729. 3, 9, 27, 81, 243, 729. That's 3 who get 3, who get 3, who get 3. How about 4, 16, 64, 256, 1,024, 4,096? Do you know those numbers? That's 4 who get 4, who get 4, who get 4, who get 4. How about 5, 25, 125, 6, 25, 11, 25, 56, 25? 5 who get 5, who get 5, who get 5, who get 5? When you really understand our model, you'll know those numbers cold because you'll show them to people as a way where they can build a sales organization, mostly of customers. 95% are going to be customers. And folks, in the last 70 years of network marketing, 80 years of network marketing, that math has enrolled more people into our opportunity than anything else we've ever shown people. Any comp plan, any product, anything. It's that math that inspires people. And yes, it's fraught with hype and exaggeration and then objections, right? Like, well, if that worked, everybody would be in the company eventually. And, well, you know, here's why it doesn't work quite that well. We're also selling the only thing, financial opportunity and network marketing, in addition to our products. But we do two things, right? We sell products and we bring customers on, and then we also sell a financial opportunity. If you're not selling the financial opportunity, then you don't really have the attitude of enrollment, and your business is not going to take off. But if you're selling the financial opportunity, the headwinds are significant. What are those headwinds? Well, I think in terms of selling the financial opportunity and network marketing, we're probably selling the only thing. We're the only salespeople in the world selling the only thing that everyone out in the marketplace has already decided they're never, ever, ever, ever going to buy. Go ask 100 people, hey, what do you think about doing one of those MLM things, selling dried fruits and vegetables? Hey, here's where you sign. Want to do that with me? No, nobody does. Except they do. Right? So if you get the attitude of enrollment and you really embrace network marketing and you understand how it works, then you can fly in this business. And so how do you do that? Well, it starts with vision. I've heard this already, it's nothing new, right? It starts with vision. What is vision? Well, if you were going to take a plane flight, vision would be the same as, where do you want to go? Exactly where do you want to go? When do you want to get there? That's pretty valuable. And what do you want the trip to feel like? What do you want it to look like? What do you want it to sound like? All of that. Like, that's vision. So it starts with, you got to know exactly what you want. What's not going to work in building your empire here is, well, I'd like to make some extra money. That's kind of like walking up to the ticket counter and telling the ticket agent, I'd like to take, kind of a flight, like, kind of a mid-range flight. Like to, maybe fly, I don't know, like 300 or 400 miles. What's she going to say to you? Go to the back of the line. Get lost. You're nuts. You're not going anywhere, right? So if you don't have it dialed in, if you don't have that GPS dialed in exactly where you want to go, you're not going anywhere. You got to start there. And we're, of course, not used to, as human beings, getting super clear about where we want to go exactly in life, when we want to get there, and what do we want the trip to feel like. We're not used to asking those questions. You know, that's an art. So you got to dial in that GPS, that goal producing system. And then you got to like check your flaps. I'm a pilot, so I use pilot. I always use pilot in golf analogies. So you got to check your flaps, and your flaps are like your attitude, because your attitude in terms of building a business is going to determine your altitude. So what's your attitude? Well, it's the primary one is an attitude of optimism, right? It's looking at your vision, and it's looking at the opportunity, and it's deciding that the glass is half full. Now, some of us are inclined to see, did I say? No, I said it wrong, right? No, deciding that glass full, but some of us are inclined to say that the glass is half empty. So if you're one of those people, and I know there's, probably a couple thousand people sitting in the audience and a couple thousand people watching at home. If you're one of those people that's sort of cynical and pessimistic, and you're always the one who figures out how something won't work, and you're always the one who's like, well, let's check this, let's make it, what about this? I wonder if this, or what about that? You're always sort of afraid there's going to be a gotcha, or somebody's going to get you, or there's going to be something that's going to keep you from being successful. Well, that's glass half full and half empty. Sorry, I got to get that one right? That's glass half empty, and that's got your flaps are like, they're not in the right direction. And so you can pull all the power you want to the plane, and if your flaps are the opposite direction they need to be, you're not taking off. So you got to have that optimism, that attitude that this is going to work out. And there's 3 levels of optimism, or belief, if you will, that determine whether or not you're going to be successful. The first one is possibility. You joined Juice Plus because you saw an opportunity, and you said to yourself, you declared to yourself, hey, it's possible I could be successful. And so you put your toe in the water. You signed up. You got on auto ship. You got these products in your home and in your body. And then you engaged in building something because you went to level 2 of belief, which is probable. Your story was, it's probable that I'm going to be successful. It's probable that the people I'm going to enroll are going to be successful. To be ultimately successful, to be a national marketing director, you got to go to the 3rd level, which is inevitable. Your story has to be, this is going to work. You got to be like the shoe salesman. This is old, before you were even born, story by Zig Ziglar. But, he tells this story of a shoe salesman that, they sent him to go open up a territory in a 3rd world country, brand new territory for these shoes. And the shoe salesman goes down there, and he's down there for a few weeks, and he does on the teletype, which they did, decades and decades ago, cancel all the shoe shipments. Don't send any shoes down for me to sell. Nobody wears any shoes. So he goes back. They, of course, broomed him, and they sent somebody else. He's down there just a few days, and he wires triple the shipments. Nobody has any shoes. So which person are you? Now, if you're the shoe salesman that's looking at nobody wears any shoes, so there's no market, you're looking for all the reasons why it won't work, oh my gosh, guaranteed. Self-fulfilling prophecy, put a stamp on it. Stick a fork in your butt, you're done. It's not going to work. You want it to work? Figure out how it will work. So you got to have that attitude. You got to set your flaps for belief, for optimism, glass half full. And then you got to throttle up and go all in. So, take a plane off. Imagine you're on a plane and the pilot hits the throttle, full throttle, and he goes 100 yards down the runway. And then he pulls the throttle back to idle and has a chit-chat with the co-pilot. And they talk for a minute or two, and then he throws the throttle back down all the way. Plane starts rolling down the one runway, gets another 200 or 300 yards, pulls the throttle back to idle, and, asks the flight attendant for a cup of coffee. After he gets his coffee, throws the throttle all the way down, goes another 400 or 500 yards, half a mile, whatever, and then he pulls it back to idle again. What's going to happen when you get to the end of the runway? Yard sale. That's what's going to happen, because you can't take this thing off, and you can't take exponential growth off with a haphazard effort. You got to go all in. If you're a poker player, you know, in No Limit Texas Hold'em, the most powerful move you can make is to go all in. And I don't mean quit your job, go full time. I just mean go all in. Go all in like you can't fail. Go all in like it's going to work. Just give it your all. And you might say, well, for how long? Simple answer, until. Well, how long do I have to go all in? How long do I have to talk to people every day? How long do I have to do all this stuff? Until it works, until you get the plane off the ground, right? Because you can't do it for 500 yards and then go, I'm tired, I'm going to pull it back to idle. Are you ever going to get off the ground on that runway? No, you're not. So last is consistency. And I heard this from several of you already. It's my favorite subject, consistency. Speed is important. Yeah, success loves speed, but so do wrecks. Plane crashes and car crashes and train wrecks, they love speed too, right? Speed can be reckless. Speed can be overdone. It's not speed that success loves. Success loves speed/consistency. And here's my metaphor on consistency. If you take a penny and double it every day for a month, that's 100% compounding each day for 30 days. Take a penny, second day is 2 cents, 4 cents, 8 cents, 16 cents, 32 cents. The end of 30 days, it's $5 million. This is an example. If you don't have this, it's in the 4-year career, but if you don't have this, you need to memorize this one and show it to people, or show it to them right after you show them 4, 16, 64, 256. And how do you do this? Well, I'll show you at the end of this. I'm going to give you a formula for doing this, but consistency is a big part of taking that plane off. So you got to do it every day. Now, can you get by with 6 days a week? Yeah, you actually could if it was 6 days a week, every week. Do you need to work the business 8 hours a day? No, actually, I'm here to tell you, if you're launching your business, if you actually worked the business doing the things that everybody here has told you you need to do and the things I'm going to tell you need to do, and you just do that 30 minutes a day, every day, even just 6 days a week, every day, 30 minutes a day, you'll crush this. Your plane will just take right off. It'll go right through the stratosphere. But most people don't do that. 95% of people don't do that. What do around consistency? They work whenever they feel like it, whenever it's convenient, whenever they're kind of moved to. So here's the example of doubling the penny every day. Guess how much the penny is worth if you double it every other day? And I think that's optimistically ambitious to think that the people that do it whenever they feel like it end up doing it every other day. They don't. They do it every 4th day or every 7th day. But guess what the penny's worth if you double it every other day? Now the obvious answer is $2.5 million. Except that would be not understanding compounding, not understanding exponential growth. Anybody know the answer, what the penny's worth after 15 days? They could shout it out in the audience real loud. I can't hear you. But if anybody said $163.80, gold star. $163.80. So what's the metaphor all about? Almost everybody in Juice Plus and almost everybody in network marketing, because of their lack of consistency, is building a $163.80 business when they could be building a $5 million business. So, what's the formula for all of this? What do you need to do to actually be successful? It's really simple. Just have 1 or 2 conversations a day. One would be slower growth and a moderate level of success. Might take you 4, 5, 6 years to earn the kind of money you really want to make. 2 conversations a day, every day. I'm talking about back and forth. You speak, they speak, back and forth. Even if they say no, doesn't matter what they say, as long as you're having a conversation. 2 conversations a day for 2 or 3 years, you'll crush this. You'll crush this. You'll go right through the stratosphere. Right through it. 2 conversations a day. Ask any of these national marketing directors. Ask them. What will that end up doing for you? Well, you'll end up eventually, after you get a little bit better, you'll start doing about maybe 2 or 3 presentations a week. And after 3 or 4 or 5 months, if you get really good at it, you'll start enrolling about 1 person a week. And so you'll be enrolling about, 40 or 50 people a year. And you do that for 2 years. And then your 3rd and 4th year, you kind of blow on it to get that exponential growth to go back and look at the numbers, right? 4, 16, 64, that's not very exciting. 256, that's not so exciting. But 1,024 and 4,096, that's really exciting. But those are the generations that take years to develop. I've interviewed hundreds and hundreds of network marketers that have crushed the 4-year career, meaning their 5th year, they're earning between 10, that'd be the lowest I've ever interviewed that I consider crushing the 4-year career. And I do consider 10 grand a month crushing it. That's a $2 million business you own. But I've interviewed people in their 5th year that make $200,000, $300,000 a month. And I'm not talking about a fly-by-night pyramid scheme, brand new startup, I'm talking about a legacy company like Juice Plus. And here's the formula. 95% of the people that I interviewed that crushed the business, they personally enrolled between 80 and 100 people in a 24-month period. May not have been their first 24 months because they might have been slow like me to start any 24-month period. 24 months, compress 80 to 100 people in that 24 months, compress them like a engine compresses, the fuel to create the power. Press those 80 to 100 people in a 24-month period, boom, you get an explosion in year 3, 4, 5 of exponential growth. Why? Because all 80 to 100 do something? No. Usually out of 80 to 100, 4, 5, 6, or 7 do something. But if they do what you did, it all grows exponentially. Now, if you're going to take the trip of a lifetime, and you're going to take your family, and you're going to take your dreams, and you're going to take your credibility, your reputation as a person, you're going to take your lifestyle, your health, your finances, you're going to take everything on this trip of a lifetime. Are you going to take your family on an experimental plane that makes all kinds of promises about how revolutionary it is in flight, but the proof part, not quite there yet, because we're, ground floor, right? Are you going to take that plane, or are you going to take the plane that's proven? I've known Jay Martin for 35 years. This school teacher, by the way, a school teacher who, 51 years ago, decided to build a network marketing sales organization. And something that is valuable to keep in mind is that's all Juice Plus is. Jay Martin decided to build a sales organization, sell a product. Now, yeah, he went ahead and started the company in which he was going to build the sales organization. But what is unique and extraordinary about Juice Plus is it's just Jay's sales organization. When somebody launches a network marketing company, where do the first 20 distributors come from? Where do the first 200 distributors come from? You say, oh, well, the company has founding distributors. Well, who's the company, right? When you just start a company, who's a company? It's Jay, the school teacher. And who enrolls those first people? Jay does. There's nobody else to do it. This whole thing, all over the world, Juice Plus, Jay Martin's personal sales organization. He just created a company to support it. So you want to know what you can do? Well, I don't know how many people are worldwide in Juice Plus, but however many there are, that's how many you can have. All you got to do is think like a school teacher and do what the school teacher did, which is have a vision, set your flaps, get the right attitude, go all in, and be consistent. And then you know what? Sometimes you're going to have to pivot because sometimes the world doesn't like what you're doing, and sometimes the world isn't fair, and sometimes there's resistance. And 20 years into his business, Jay had to massively pivot into Juice Plus. But even Juice Plus now, almost 30 years of proof that people will buy these products month in, month out, year in, year out, decades in, decades out. He has proven that if you build it, he will pay you for life based on your repeat customers. And I've seen him like stand his ground and be an ambassador for this business model, an ambassador for, if you build it here, I will pay you for the rest of your life. In fact, perhaps generations beyond that. I've seen him do it from Holiday Inns all across America to the chambers of Congress, to the capitals and cultures all over the world of various countries. He spent the last 50 years doing this. This is a plane, folks, that you can trust. You can trust this man and his vision because he spent his whole life proving it. Absolute insanity to take this trip on an experimental plane. And, you know, I wish we had the stats. We just don't have them. Nobody's kept track. But I've got them anecdotally. You know, how many companies start and fail before you end up with a legacy Juice Plus company? It's not dozens. It's not even hundreds. It's thousands. Thousands of network marketing companies have launched and failed. Tens of thousands in the last 50 years. Juice Plus is like one of maybe 50 or 100,000 enterprises that has made it, that has proven it. Absolute insanity to book your family on a flight in a ground floor, nothing but promises, experimental plane. So here's another attitude for you as I wrap this up, that I don't know if you can figure out how to think this way. This is the way successful people in network marketing think. And I offer you this perspective because it has saved perhaps hundreds of thousands of network marketing careers and accelerated hundreds of thousands of network marketing careers. And it's called the secret formula. And I called it the secret formula because I always get a kick out of marketing, you know, companies and brands and conversations where they talk about the secret formula, but then of course they're going to market the secret formula to you. So this is actually the not so secret formula. And it's not so secret because it's on YouTube. Like, you can go watch me rant about this for an hour on YouTube. It's called the secret formula. You can just Google it or whatever on YouTube. And I'm just going to give you like the thumbnail of it. So back to, how do you have, you know, 1 or 2 conversations a day, which can't take more than 30 minutes a day. How do you have 1 or 2 conversations a day? Well, you just got to get your mind right, right? You just got to get it all right, and you got to go all in. You got to do all that. Well, how do you do that? Well, you got to believe, folks, that there's a lot more people out there that still want to do this. In fact, this might help you. There's 475,000 people a week, according to direct sales associations around the world, just from members, companies that are members of direct selling associations, which is not most of the companies. For example, there's like 700 companies based in the United States. There's only 190 of them that are direct sales association members. Most companies aren't. But just the direct selling association members report 475,000 people a week join one of those network marketing companies. So there's still some people out there that want to do this. So you got to get that belief. So I'm going to give you 2 ways to see that belief, to get it. One is the secret formula, and it works like this. I want you to imagine that Juice Plus changed their compensation plan. Again. Just for perspective, how many times do you think Juice Plus has changed the compensation plan in the last 50 years? A few, right? And somehow, you know, Cheryl Cortese and Jeff Roberti and, you know, a lot of other people have figured out how to prosper anyway, right? Just, you know, adapt, overcome, what's the last one? Persevere or something like that. Like, figure it out, right? It's okay. Just bounce back. Figure out how it's better. But imagine Juice Plus changed the compensation plan. Again, only this time it looked like this. They're all gone is the generation pay. All gone is the get paid for life stuff. All gone is the residual income. That's all gone. They're only paying you one way. This is how they're going to pay you. This is the new comp plan. Juice Plus is going to pay you $500 a day. That's $15,000 a month. You're capped at 15 grand a month. You can never earn more than 15 grand a month. So I know some national marketing directors will be upset about that. That's all you can earn. And here's how they're going to pay you. $500 a day. And here's what you have to do. You have to be in 2 conversations a day about the Juice Plus products and opportunity. You got to inspire and educate new customers, and you got to tell every one of those new people that you're talking to about the product about this opportunity. You can't just onboard customers, because customers don't recruit, they don't grow exponentially. Only people that see the opportunity do that. That's, you know, having the attitude of enrollment. So 2 conversations today about the products and the opportunity. Doesn't matter what people say. They can say, absolutely not. I'm working here at the chicken plant for the rest of my life. I'm never, ever going to do that again. Never, ever, ever, ever going to do network marketing. That's perfectly fine. You get paid anyway. 2 conversations a day, every day. You can do it 6 days a week. That's okay. You ever miss a day? You ever miss a day? 1 day. It doesn't matter what your excuse is, unless you're unconscious. If you're conscious, you got to ask the nurse. You got to ask somebody in the hospital. If you're unconscious, you get a pass. It doesn't matter how sick you are, doesn't matter how busy you are, doesn't matter what's going on in your life, you got to have 2 conversations a day. You don't have those 2 conversations by midnight, you're out, permanently out, can't ever get back in. $500 a day. 2 conversations. You clear about the contract? It's $15,000 a month. Take you 30 minutes a day. So here's a couple of questions for you. Who are you going to talk to? Are you ever going to run out of people to talk to? Are you ever going to be in a funk because you don't know who to talk to when you make $500 for 2 conversations? Are you ever going to make up a story about somebody's too busy, or you're too busy, or this isn't a good time to call, or what if they say no? Or are you ever going to be in that kind of a world for $500 a day? No. You're going to always know who to talk to. Next question, what are you going to say to them? Are you going to be like, oh, yeah, I don't know what to say. I can't figure it out. Somebody give me a script. You get paid $500 for telling them about Juice Plus. As long as it's compliant, tell them anything you want. Doesn't really matter what you say. What matters is how on fire are you and how consistently do you say it. So what are you going to say to them? You don't need to answer that. I'll tell you. You don't know. And for $500, you'll figure it out. And the last question is, what are you going to do if they say no? You know, some will, some won't. Sort some more. Some will, some won't. Sort some more. That's what we do. Now, you may think that it's your job to sell everybody on Juice Plus products and recruit everybody into Juice Plus. It's actually not. Leave that to the pros. That's sales. I don't know who does that. I don't even do that. Just sort people. Here's another example. Deck of cards. So you can like shout this out in the audience. This is a deck of cards, a legitimate deck of cards. Look, there's an ace right there on the bottom. This is a legitimate poker deck of cards. 52 cards in the deck, fully shuffled. Question for you. How many aces are there in this deck? It's a totally legitimate, unadulterated poker deck. How many aces are in this deck? Shout it out. Whoever said 4, you get a gold star, right? And I promise you there are 4 aces in this deck. This is not a trick deck. But if you use the deck of cards to understand our role and how the world works and how network marketing works, and you combine it with the secret formula, well, you can crush this every day, 30 minutes a day. So what's our job? To recruit everybody and sell everybody? No. Our job is just tell our story a couple times a day until we find somebody leaning up against the door. Just consider yourself a couple times a day, you open the door and tell your story. And what you're looking for is somebody leaning up against the door. Why would they be leaning up against the door? Well, they're tired. They're tired of their job, they're tired of their career, they're tired of being broke, they're tired of being sick, they're tired of being tired, sick and tired of being sick and tired. Whatever reason, they're leaning up against the door. Your job, open the door. Just open it. You don't need to do a lot of selling, just tell your story. Your compliant story. Okay, so you open the door. So what I want you to do is look at these cards, and I want you to assess the enthusiasm, how much somebody's leaning up against the door based on the value of the card. So like a deuce would be a negative prospect. They're not leaning up against the door. They're holding the door so you can't open it, right? And an ace is obviously somebody leaning up against the door. You open the door, they don't fall in. They jump in and jump into your arms to lock arms with you to go build an empire. So if you use a deck of cards to train new people coming in, you might save some people from getting just trashed by the prospect, because most new people think their job is to get everybody to say yes, and if they don't get everybody to say yes, there's something wrong, glass is half empty, and this isn't going to work. So you shuffle up the deck and just start popping through the cards, okay? So this is an 8. So let's say this person, you open the door, they're not leaning against the door, they're not pulling on the door the other way, they're not super negative, they're just disinterested, right? So you're a brand new person. What I want you to do is kind of imagine you're a brand new person, this is the first person you talk to. Well, they're probably not going to have you quit, but they're also not going to inspire you necessarily to talk to more people. But if you do talk to more people, then you might talk to a 4, right? 4 is not leaning up against the door, maybe not holding the door for dear might, but they're pretty much, no, I'm not interested, don't call me again, I don't know why you're doing that, right? So a 4, then you got a 10, right? So a 10's a little bit more interested in an 8, but they're not jumping in. They're still saying no. The only people saying yes are the aces, right? Oh, then you got a deuce won't even let you open the door. They're like screaming at you from the other side of the door. No, you can't come in here. Shut up, go away, don't talk to me. How do you think a brand new person feels after talking to these 4 or 5 people? Most people in network marketing quit after that deuce. Why? Because they think they're supposed to sell them. They think there's something wrong when actually there's something right. Here's what's right. So you got a 5, right? That's no help. So you got a queen. That's no help. Now here's the way most people go through network marketing. The more people who say no, the less enthusiasm they have to talk to the next person. Their vision and self-motivation is all out there in the world. It's all results-oriented. As long as people say yes, then my belief will be high, and I'll be optimistic, and I'll keep going, and I'll keep working this. So, those of you in the audience, you might be looking, I've been doing this, a year or 2, and, if things were going well, if my sales were growing, if people were joining my team, then I'd be excited. But people aren't joining my team, and sales aren't going so well right now, so I'm not excited. So what do? Well, chicken and the egg, right? You want to get heat out of the stove, you got to put the wood in. So you got to get right on the inside if you want to manifest results on the outside. You want your team to change, you want your sales to change. You can't wait for them to change for you to get on fire. You got to bring it from within. So the way most people go through the deck is the more people who tell them no, the lower their belief goes from inevitable, probable, possible to probably not. And then they're out of the business. They're out after talking to 5 people, 10 people, 15 people. When if you teach this attitude, how many aces are there in this deck? Well, there's 15 out of 52 cards. So if I know there's 4 aces in this deck. Then when I pop a queen, which is pretty positive, you know, but she doesn't get in. She's pretty positive, but she doesn't get in. Okay, I'm even more excited to talk to the next person who's a 5. So the 5 is no, not interested. And my response is, awesome, I'm closer to the ace. So you pop a deuce, and the deuce says, no, you can't come in here, stay away, go away, I hate you, I hate network marketing, it's a pyramid scheme. And your response is, 3 down, I'm closer to the ace. So to have the right attitude, the more people who tell you no, the closer you are to the ace. If you get that attitude, if you understand that there's 475,000 people a week that are joining network marketing, there's thousands of people every month that are joining Juice Plus, and somebody is going to get somebody to enroll. What about you? All depends on your attitude. If the more people who tell you no, the more depressed you get, you're out. Your face plant, your yard sale, you're going to end up in a big pile of aluminum at the end of the runway. It's not going to work. Oh, popped an ace. Why? Because I kept talking to 2 people a day, because my fire came from the inside, not from the outside. So I didn't base my motivation and my belief on my results. I based it on my vision. And everybody in this room, folks, that has popped aces, that's how they got there. You know, after the ace, what do you get? You get a 3, you start over, and you get another 3, and you're thinking, oh, maybe I got lucky. Oh, maybe this is never going to happen again. And, oh my gosh, I'm in a slump. Maybe I got the only person ever. Oh, and then you get one of these people. Have you ever talked to one of these people? The deck. Our job, folks, is just to flip the aces. Just flip the cards till we find the aces. Just imagine you're getting paid $500 a day. Have that answer the question, who do you talk to, what do you say, what do you do if you say no? If you can find it in your heart, folks, to create your vision, like really ask and answer the question, what do I really want out of this, and what am I willing to give? If you can set your attitude, if you can throttle up and you can go all in, you will take flight. I promise you that. I promise you, if you do the simple basic things that everybody in the room that's been successful has done, you too will be successful. I promise you that. Jay Martin promises you that. Celine promises you that. Louise and Peter promise you that. Every national marketing director in the room promises you that. If they can do it, if a school teacher can do it, you can do it. And I know there's obstacles, and I know it's going to take courage, and I know you're going to have setbacks, and I know sometimes it's going to look dark and stormy. Do it anyway. Just do it anyway.
Thank you, my friend. Well done. Hashtag do it anyway. Richard, thank you. I know that you stayed up late specially for us, and that to be able to deliver to us this evening all the way over there in, are you in Hawaii at the moment?
I am.
You are. You are. Well, can we please give I took lots of notes. I'm sure many of you have as well. I saw you. It was awesome, as always. Simple, but you know what? It's straight to what it is that we do, about being consistent and not being afraid to turn over the cards. Let's give it up for Richard. Well done. Thank you, Richard.